Welcome, kindred spirits, to a place of positivity, passion, and purpose. Welcome to our channel, where today's focus is all about Cilicia. Let's get started. Cilicia is a geographical region in southern Anatolia, extending inland from the northeastern coasts of the Mediterranean Sea. Cilicia has a population ranging over 6 million, concentrated mostly at the Cilician plain. The region includes the provinces of Mersin, Adana, Osmaniye and Hatay. Now, let's delve into the intricacies of name and explore its various aspects. The name of Cilicia was derived from, which was the name used by the Neo-Assyrian Empire to designate the western part of what would become Cilicia. The English spelling is the same as the Latin, as it was transliterated directly from the Greek form. The palatalization of C occurring in Western Europe in later Vulgar Latin accounts for its modern pronunciation in English. In this part of the video, we'll be diving deep into geography and unraveling its profound impact. Cilicia extends along the Mediterranean coast east from Pamphylia to the Nor Mountains, which separate it from Syria. North and east of Cilicia stand the rugged Taurus Mountains, which separate it from the high central plateau of Anatolia, and which are pierced by a narrow gorge called in antiquity the Cilician Gates. Ancient Cilicia was naturally divided into Cilicia Trachea, west of the Limanlou River, and Cilicia Pedias, east of the Limanlou. Salamis, the city on the east coast of Cyprus, was included in the Roman province of Cilicia from 58 BC until 27 BC. Cilicia consisted of two main contrasting regions. To the west was a mountainous region characterized by rough terrain, corresponding to the Neo-Assyrian period territory of and the Greco-Roman region of rough Cilicia. To the east was a fertile region defined by a smooth terrain, corresponding to the Neo-Assyrian period territory of and the Greco-Roman region of plain Cilicia. As we transition, let's shed light on rough Cilicia and its relevance to our ongoing exploration. Rough Cilicia is a rugged mountain district formed by the spurs of Taurus, which often terminate in rocky headlands with small sheltered harbors, features which, in classical times, made the coast a string of havens for pirates and, in the Middle Ages, outposts for Genoese and Venetian traders. The district is watered by the Calicanis and was covered in ancient times by forests that supplied timber to Phoenicia and Egypt. Cilicia lacked large cities. Let's now turn our gaze towards plain Cilicia and explore the fascinating connections it has to offer. Plain Cilicia, to the east, included the rugged spurs of Taurus and a large coastal plain, with rich loamy soil, known to Greeks such as Xenophon, who passed through with his mercenary group of the 10,000, for its abundance. Euthymia, filled with sesame and millet and olives, and pasturage for the horses imported into ancient Israel by King Solomon. Many of its high places were fortified. The plain is watered by the three great rivers, the Cydnus-Tarsus-Waburnon River, the Sarus-Sion, and the Pyramus-Sion River, each of which brings down much silt from the deforested interior and which fed extensive wetlands. The Sarus now enters the sea almost due south of Tarsus, but there are clear indications that at one period it joined the Pyramus, and that the united rivers ran to the sea west of Karatash. Through the rich plain of Issus ran the great highway that linked east and west, on which stood the cities of Tarsus Tarsa on the Cydnus, Adana Adonijah on the Sarus, and Mopchestiamices on the Pyramus. As we progress through this video, let's now turn our gaze towards climate. The climate of Cilicia shows significant differences between the mountains and the lower plains. At the lower plains, the climate reflects a typical Mediterranean style. Summers are hot while winters are mild, making the land, particularly the eastern plains, fertile. In the coldest month, January, the average temperature is 9 C, and in the warmest month, August, the average temperature is 28 C. The mountains of Cilicia have an inland climate with snowy winters. The average annual precipitation in the region is 647, and the average number of rainy days in a year is 76. Mersin and surrounding areas have the highest average temperature in Cilicia. Mersin also has high annual precipitation, 1096, and 85 rainy days in a year. Prepare yourself for an in-depth analysis of geology in this section. The mountains of Cilicia are formed from ancient limestones, conglomerate, marlstone, and similar materials. The Taurus Mountains are composed of karstic limestone, while its soil is also limestone-derived, with pockets of volcanic soil. The lower plain is the largest alluvial plain in Turkey. Expansion of limestone formations and fourth-era alluvials brought by the rivers Sion and Sion formed the plains of the region over the course of time. Achaean, Salt Lake, Seven Lakes at Aloda, and Karstic Dipses Lake near Kayseri are the lakes of the region. The reservoirs in the region are Sion, Yatalin, Yedigs, Kozan, and Mehmetli. The major rivers in Cilicia are Sion, Burden, Tarsus, Asi, and Ksu. Sion River emerges from the confluence of Zumand and Ksu rivers, which originate from Kayseri province and flows into the Gulf of Mersin. The river is 560 longitude. Sion River emerges from the confluence of the Aksu and Herman rivers and flows towards Cape Hermes at the Gulf of Iskenderun. It is 509 long and it forms the Achaean, Akitan, and Kaikite lakes before flowing into the Mediterranean. Burden River originates from the Taurus Mountains and flows into the Mediterranean south of Tarsus. Ksu River originates from the Taurus Mountains and flows into the Mediterranean 16 km southeast of Silifke. It forms the Ksu Delta, including Ekel Lake and Pardenis Lagoon. As we progress, let's zoom in on Neolithic and examine its role in shaping our overall narrative. Cilicia was settled from the Neolithic period onwards. Dating of the ancient settlements of the region from Neolithic to Bronze Age is as follows: a ceramic Neolithic, 8th and 7th millennia BC, early Chalcolithic, 5800 BC, middle Chalcolithic correlated with Halaf and Ubaid developments in the east, CBC, late Chalcolithic, 4500 C 3400 BC, and early Bronze Age IA, BC, EBAIB, BC, EBA2, BC, EBAIIB, BC. As we venture forward, let's take a closer look at Bronze Age and its impact on our understanding. The area had been known as Kizzuwatna in the earlier Hittite era 2nd millennium BC. The region was divided into two parts: plain Cilicia or Adana, a well-watered plain, and rough Cilicia Tarsa, in the mountainous west. There exists evidence that circa 1650 BC both Hittite kings Hattusili I and Mersili I enjoyed the freedom of movement along the Pyramus River, now the Sion River, in southern Turkey, proving they exerted strong control over Cilicia in their battles with Syria. After the death of Mersin around 1595 BC, Hurrians wrested control from the Hittites, and Cilicia was free for 2 centuries. The first king of Free Cilicia, Iputahu, son of Periawatri, was recorded as a great king in both cuneiform and Hittite hieroglyphs. Another record of Hittite origins, a treaty between Iputahu and Telipinu, king of the Hittites, is recorded in both Hittite and Akkadian. In the next century, the Cilician king Pilia finalized treaties with both kings Adanta I of the Hittites and Idrami of Aloluk, in which Idrami mentions that he had assaulted several military targets throughout eastern Cilicia. Niqmapa, who succeeded Idrami as king of Aloluk, went so far as to ask for help from a Hurrian rival, Shushita of Mitanni, to try and reduce Cilicia's power in the region. It was soon apparent, however, that increased Hittite power would soon prove Niqmapa's efforts to be futile, as the city of Kizzuwatna soon fell to the Hittites, threatening all of Cilicia. Soon after, King Sunusura I was forced to accept vassalization under the Hittites, becoming the last king of ancient Cilicia. After the death of Mersin I, which led to a power struggle among rival claimants to the throne, eventually leading to the collapse of Hittite supremacy, Cilicia appeared to have regained its independence. In the 13th century BC, a major population shift occurred as the Sea peoples overran Cilicia. The Hurrians that resided there deserted the area and moved northeast towards the Taurus Mountains, where they settled in the area of Cappadocia. As we venture forward, let's examine Iron Age in detail and gain a deeper appreciation for its significance. During the early and middle of the Iron Age, Cilicia was dominated by two main polities. In the east was Iowa, corresponding to Plain Cilicia, and referred to as in Neo-Assyrian sources and as in Neo-Babylonian sources. In the west, corresponding to Rough Cilicia, was the state referred to as in Neo-Assyrian sources and as in Neo-Babylonian sources. You today equal Turkey. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of Kingdom of Cilicia and exploring its real-world applications. In the 6th century BC, an independent state, called Cilicia by the ancient Greeks, was established in southeastern Anatolia under the rule of a native dynasty, with its capital of Cilicia at the city of Tarsus. Cilicia and Cilicians do not appear in any extant list of people ruled by the Achaemenid Empire. The Greek designation of extended the use of the name of the state of Ilaku to the territory of both Ilaku and its neighbor Iowa. It is, however, uncertain how this naming convention arose, and whether it was the result of political expansion by Ilaku or of Greeks first coming into contact with Ilaku and using its name for all the Lusian populations of eastern Anatolia is unknown. The earliest known ruler, and possibly the founder, of the Kingdom of Cilicia was Cilician I, who, according to the ancient Greek historian Herodotus of Halicarnassus, mediated in 585 BC the peace treaty which followed the end of the conflict which had opposed the Lydian and Median empires. Herodotus of Halicarnassus also claimed that the Cilicians and the Lycians were the only peoples of Anatolia who had not been conquered by the Lydian king Croesus. However, it is unknown whether this means that the Cilicians and Lycians were able to resist the Lydian conquest, or whether Croesus did not find any interest in annexing them. Let's now zoom in on submission to the Achaemenid Empire and uncover the hidden gems that lie within. In the mid-6th century BC, the Kingdom of Cilicia supported the founding king of the Persian Achaemenid Empire, Cyrus II, in his wars against Croesus of Lydia, as a consequence of which Cilicia became a vassal of the Achaemenid Empire as from, and the Cilician rulers became part of the Achaemenid administration. Under early Achaemenid rule, Cilicia maintained a significant degree of autonomy and the native rulers acted as satraps governors for the Achaemenid administration, with their authority extending until as far west as Arspendus. Cilicia during the Achaemenid period was inhabited by tribal populations who were led by native chieftains, and it contained fortified strongholds protecting its agricultural land and its inhabitants, as well as various native and Persian cities and towns. Nevertheless, the western part of Cilicia, corresponding to the later Greco-Roman Rough Cilicia, probably remained independent of Persian rule and of the administration of the satrap of Tarsus except for the narrow strip of flat land along its coast, due to which the imperial authorities often led repressive measures against these inhabitants of the hilly regions. During the reign of the Achaemenid King of Kings Darius I, Cilicia was used as an assembly point for the military forces which Marnius used to campaign in Europe, as well as those which Datis and Artaphernes used to campaign against both the Asian and European Greeks. Under Darius I's successor, Xerxes I, Cilicia contributed both troops and ships for the Achaemenid conquest of the Aegean Sea. The Cilician ruler Cilician I led these ships, but was killed in battle. At this time, the ruling dynasty of Cilicia had been linked by marriage bonds with Carian notables. Cilician I was succeeded by one Xenagras of Halicarnassus, who had no previous ties to Cilicia and was appointed as satrap of Cilicia by Xerxes I as reward for his service. Cilicia remained under efficient administration, and it would continue to provide troops for the Achaemenid wars in Anatolia, Egypt and Cyprus. Kingdom of Cilicia equal Macedonian Empire government type equal monarchy title leader equal king of kings title deputy equal satrap event start equal Cyrus I's conquest of Babylon event end equal Macedonian conquest of the Achaemenid Empire deputy equal Cilician I year deputy equal Xenagras of Halicarnassus year deputy equal Cilician I year deputy equal Camisors year deputy equal Datums year deputy equal Mazus year deputy equal 333 BC leader equal Artaxerxes I year leader equal BC leader equal Artaxerxes I year leader equal BC leader equal Arses year leader equal BC leader equal Darius I year leader equal BC native name equal Achaemenid Cilicia today equal Turkey flags equal Virgin Sun wipers. In the upcoming portion, we'll be dissecting satrapy of Cilicia to gain a comprehensive understanding of its implications. In 401 BC, the Achaemenid king of kings Artaxerxes I abolished the autonomy of Cilicia in reaction to the local Cilician ruler Cianis's support for the rebellion of Cyrus the Younger, resulting in the kingdom of Cilicia being abolished and fully integrated into the Achaemenid Empire as a province ruled by and appointed by the Achaemenid king of kings, which it would remain until the end of the Achaemenid Empire in 333 BC. Once the revolt of Cyrus the Younger had been suppressed, Cilicia was again used as an assembly point for Achaemenid forces in preparation for military action in the Aegean Sea during 396 to 395 BC, and against Cyprus in the Urs BC. During the Urs BC, Chamisaurs was appointed as satrap of Cilicia. Chamisaurs was himself succeeded by his son, Datums, who eventually became the satrap of both Cilicia and Cappadocia until his assassination in the Urs BC, the satrap of Cilicia was Mazus, who was also given authority over Syria as reward for his service in a campaign against Egypt. Get ready to uncover the mysteries surrounding Hellenistic period as we navigate its intriguing terrain. Alexander forded the Halys River in the summer of 333 BC, ending up on the border of southeastern Phrygia and Cilicia. He knew well the writings of Xenophon, and how the Cilician gates had been impassable if obstructed by the enemy. Alexander reasoned that by force alone he could frighten the defenders and break through, and he gathered his men to do so. In the cover of night, they attacked, startling the guards and sending them and their satrap into full flight, setting their crops aflame as they made for Tarsus. This good fortune allowed Alexander and his army to pass unharmed through the gates and into Cilicia. During Alexander's invasion, a lesser officer named Arsames, who had fled to Cilicia from the northwest to organize new resistance there, defended it against the Macedonian forces. After Alexander's death, it was long a battleground of the rival Hellenistic monarchs and kingdoms, and for a time fell under Ptolemaic dominion, i.e., Egypt, but finally came to the Seleucids, who, however, never held effectually more than the eastern half. Although no later Persian empire ever regained control of Cilicia, one Seleucid officer named Erebusus, and attested as administrator of Cilicia in 246 BC, was possibly of Persian descent. During the Hellenistic era, numerous cities were established in Cilicia, which minted coins showing the badges, gods, animals, and objects associated with each polis. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze Roman and Byzantine periods from different angles and evaluate its significance. Cilicia Trachea became the haunt of pirates, who were subdued by Pompey in 67 BC following a battle of Corication, modern Alania, and Tarsus was made the capital of the Roman province of Cilicia. Cilicipedias became Roman territory in 103 BC, first conquered by Marcus Antonius Orator in his campaign against pirates, with Sulla acting as its first governor, foiling an invasion of Mithridates, and the whole was organized by Pompey, 64 BC, into a province which, for a short time, extended to and included part of Phrygia. In 51 BC, the Parthian Empire was able to take advantage of the weakness of the Roman Republic to invade Cilicia. It was reorganized by Julius Caesar, 47 BC, and about 27 BC became part of the province Syria Cilicia Phonis. At first, the western district was left independent under native kings or priest dynasts, and a small kingdom, under Tarquinius I, was left in the east, but these were finally united to the province by Vespasian, AD 72. Containing 47 known cities, it had been deemed important enough to be governed by a proconsul. In 259 or 250, the Persian Sasanian king of kings Shapur I defeated the Roman Emperor Valerian, whose army included Cilician soldiers. After Valerian's defeat, the Sasanian forces burnt and sacked several cities in Syria, Cilicia and Cappadocia. Under Emperor Diocletian's Tetrarchy c. 297, Cilicia was governed by a consularis, with Isauria and the Syrian, Mesopotamian, Egyptian and Libyan provinces formed the Diocese Orientis. In the late 4th century, the African component was split off as Diocese of Egypt, part of the Praetorian Prefecture also called Oriens the East, also including the Diocese of Asia and Pontica, both in Anatolia and Thrace in the Balkans, the rich bulk of the Eastern Roman Empire. After the division of the Roman Empire, Cilicia became part of the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire. Cilicia was one of the most important regions of the classical world and can be considered as the birthplace of Christianity. Roman Cilicia exported the goat's hair cloth, Cilicium, which was used to make tents. Tarsus was also the birthplace of the early Christian missionary and author St. Paul, likely writer of 13 of the 27 books included in the New Testament. Cilicia had numerous Christian communities and is mentioned 6 times in the book of Acts and once in the Epistle to the Galatians 1:21. After Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire in the 4th century, Cilicia was included in the territories of the Patriarchate of Antioch. The region was divided into 2 civil and ecclesiastical provinces, Cilicia Prima, with a metropolitan diocese at Tarsus and suffragan diocese for Pompeipolis, Sebaste, Coricus, Adana, Mulis and Zephyrium, and Cilicia Secunda, with a metropolitan diocese at Anesbus and suffragan diocese for Mopchestia, Aga, Epiphania, Irenopolis, Flavias, Castabella, Alexandria, Citidiopolis and Rosas. Bishops from the various dioceses of Cilicia were well represented at the First Council of Nice in 325 and at the later ecumenical councils. After the division of the Roman Empire, Cilicia became part of the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire. As we transition to the next segment, let's unravel the mysteries surrounding early Islamic period and gain a fresh perspective. In the 7th century, Cilicia was invaded by the Muslim Arabs. The area was for some time an embattled no-man's land. The Arabs succeeded in conquering the area in the early 8th century. Under the Abbasid Caliphate, Cilicia was resettled and transformed into a fortified frontier zone. Tarsus, rebuilt in, quickly became the largest settlement in the region and the Arabs' most important base in their raids across the Taurus Mountains into Byzantine-held Anatolia. The Muslims held the country until it was reoccupied by the Emperor Nicephorus II in 965. From this period onward, the area increasingly came to be settled by Armenians, especially as imperial rule pushed deeper into the Caucasus over the course of the 11th century. In medieval Arabic, Cilicia was known as Arthuga, as Shamia, meaning Levantine outskirts. In this segment, we'll be unraveling the complexities of Armenian Cilicia and the Crusades and exploring its multifaceted nature. During the time of the First Crusade, the area was controlled by the Armenian Kingdom of Cilicia. The Seljuk Turkish invasions of Armenia were followed by an exodus of Armenians migrating westward into the Byzantine Empire, and in 1080 Reuben, a relative of the last king of Ani, founded in the heart of the Cilician Taurus a small principality which gradually expanded into the Armenian Kingdom of Cilicia. This Christian state, surrounded by Muslim states hostile to its existence, had a stormy history of about 300 years, giving valuable support to the Crusaders and trading with the great commercial cities of Italy. It prospered for 3 centuries due to the vast network of fortifications which secured all the major roads as well as the 3 principal harbors at Aes, Coicus, and Mopchestia. Through their complex alliances with the Crusader states, the Armenian barons and kings often invited Crusaders to maintain castles in and along the borders of the kingdom, including Bagraz, Trapesec, Tilhampton, Honia, Selethia, Amora, and Sarvandica. Gozantin R1095 c. 1100 assisted the Crusaders on their march to Antioch, and was created knight and marquis. Thoros IRC 1111-29, in alliance with the Christian princes of Syria, waged successful wars against the Byzantines and Seljuk Turks. 11 II Leo the Great extended the kingdom beyond Mount Taurus and established the capital at Sis. He assisted the Crusaders, was crowned king by the Archbishop of Mainz, and married one of the Lusitanians of the Crusader Kingdom of Cyprus. Let's now turn our attention to Mongols and uncover the fascinating insights it brings to the table. Hatay I made an alliance with the Mongols, sending his brother Semped to the Mongol court in person. The Mongols then assisted with the defense of Cilicia from the Mamluks of Egypt, until the Mongols themselves converted to Islam. The spotlight now falls on Turkmens as we delve deeper into its details. The Ilkhanate lost cohesion after the death of Abu Said and thus could not support the Armenian kingdom in guarding Cilicia. Internal conflicts within the Armenian kingdom and the devastation caused by the Black Death that arrived in 1348 led nomadic Turkmens to turn their eyes towards unstable Cilicia. In 1352, Ramazan Beg-led Turkmens settled south of Yolda and founded their first settlement, Kameli. Later that year, Ramazan Beg visited Cairo and was licensed by the Sultan to establish the new frontier Turkmen Emirate in Cilicia. Arya Turkmens lived as a small community for 7 years in southeast of Adana and named their new land Arya. Now, let's redirect our focus towards collapse and discover its significance in our narrative. When Levin V died 1342, John of Lusignan was crowned king as Constantine IV, but he and his successors alienated the native Armenians by attempting to make them conform to the Roman Church, and by giving all posts of honor to Latins, until at last the kingdom, falling prey to internal dissensions, ceded Ciliciapedias to the Ramadanid-supported Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt in 1375. As we progress, let's shine a spotlight on Mamluk and Turkmen rule and examine its intricate interplay within our topic. In 1359, Mamluk Sultanate army marched into Cilicia and took over Adana and Tarsus, two major cities of the plain, leaving few castles to Armenians. In 1375, Mamluks gained the control of the remaining areas of Cilicia, thus ending the 3 centuries rule of Armenians. Ciliciapedias became part of the Mamluk Sultanate in 1375. Mamluk Sultanate authorized Ramazan Beg-led Turkmen Emirate to administer Cilicia, but took direct control of the towns, Tarsus, Ayas, Sarvandika, Sis at the 4 corners of Cilicia plain, and appointed an emir and a garrison for each. Tarsus, the former capital of Cilicia, was settled by the Moors that arrived from Egypt. Turkmen Emirate, which began to be known as Ramadanids, set the city of Adana as their center of power, and many Turkmen families of Arya origin moved to the city. After the death of Ramazan Bey, his son Ibrahim Bey made alliance with the Karman Emirate. Alauddin Bey and Ibrahim Bey together tried to break the Mameluk's might in the province. After this alliance, a great Mamelik army moved in and began to plunder, but Ibrahim Bey's army achieved a great victory against the Mamelukes in Belen. Also in this battle, Temur Bey, the general of the Mamelukes, had been captured. Yılboga, the emir of Aleppo, moved on to the Turkmens after this defeat, and he conquered Mis's castle. Ramadanids were the only emirate in Anatolia that were not a successor of the Anatolian Seljuk Sultanate. They are often misclassified as an Anatolian Beylik, though they were an entity under Mamluks. The Ramadanids played an important role in 15th century Ottoman-Mamluk relations, being a buffer state located in the Mamluk-al-Awasam frontier zone. Cilicia were one of the last regions of Anatolia to fall under Turkish rule, and were part of the Seljuks for a short time, thus were not affected from Sunni Tariq expansionism of the 13th century. Arya Turks moved to Cilicia in the late 14th century, and had a distinct culture that influenced from Bektashi traditions which accompanied shamanic rituals with Islam. Living together and having cultural exchange with the large Armenian community, Arya Turks flourished a laid-back culture. The Karmanid Principality, one of the Turkmen Anatolian Beyliks, emerged after the collapse of the Anatolian Seljuks, took over the rule of Cilicia Thrace. Moving ahead, let's uncover the hidden gems within Ottoman period and discover their significance. In 1516, Selim I incorporated the Beylik into the Ottoman Empire after his conquest of the Mamluk state. The Beys of Ramadanids held the administration of the Ottoman Sanjak of Adana in a hereditary manner until 1608, with the area serving as a vassal of the Ottomans. Ottomans ended the Ramadanid administration of Adana Sanjak in 1608, ruling it directly from Constantinople then after. The autonomous Sanjak was then split from the Aleppo Eyalet and established as a new province under the name of Adana Eyalet. A governor was appointed to administer the province. In late 1832, Eyalet of Egypt Valley Muhammad Ali Pasha invaded Syria and reached Cilicia. The Convention of Tahrir that was signed on 14 May 1833 ceded Cilicia to the de facto independent Egypt. Alawites brought to Cilicia from Syria to work at the flourishing agricultural lands. Ibrahim Paya, the son of Muhammad Ali Paya, demolished the Adana castle and the city walls in 1836. He built the canals for irrigation and transportation and also built water systems for the residential areas of the towns. Adana had the infrastructure it needed by the second half of the 19th century to become a major center of southeastern Anatolia. After the Oriental Crisis, the Convention of Alexandria that was signed on 27 November 1840 required the return of Cilicia to Ottoman sovereignty. The American Civil War that broke out in 1861 disturbed the cotton flow to Europe and directed European cotton traders to fertile Cilicia. The region became the center of cotton trade and one of the most economically strong regions of the empire within decades. In 1869, Adana Eyalet was re-established as Adana Vilayet after the restructuring in the Ottoman administration. Adana Mersin railway line was opened in 1886, connecting Cilicia to international ports through Port of Mersin. A thriving regional economy, the doubling of Cilician Armenian population due to flee from Hamidian massacres, and the end of autocratic Abdulhamid rule with the revolution of 1908, empowered the Armenian community and envisioned an autonomous Cilicia. Enraged supporters of Abdulhamid that organized under Semite Im Hamdai amidst the countercop led to a series of anti-Armenian pogroms in April 1909. The Adana massacre resulted in the deaths of roughly 25,000 Armenians, orphaned 3,500 children, and caused heavy destruction of Christian neighborhoods in the entire Vilayet. Cilicia section of the Berlin-Badad Railway were opened in 1912, connecting the region to Middle East. Over the course of Armenian genocide, Ottoman telegraph was received by the governor to deport the more than 70,000 Armenians of the Adana Vilayet to Syria. Armenians of Zitan had organized a successful resistance against the Ottoman onslaught. In order to finally subjugate Zitan, the Ottomans had to resort to treachery by forcing an Armenian delegation from Marsh to ask the Zitanses to put down their arms. Both the Armenian delegation and later the inhabitants of Zitan were left with no choice. Let's now zoom in on modern era and uncover the hidden gems that lie within. Armistice of Mudros that was signed on 30 October 1918 to end the World War I ceded the control of Cilicia to France. French government sent 4 battalions of the Armenian Legion in December to take over and oversee the repatriation of more than 170,000 Armenians to Cilicia. Returning Armenians negotiated with France to establish an autonomous state of Cilicia. The Armenians formed the Armenian National Union, which acted as an unofficial Cilician Armenian government composed of the 4 major political parties and 3 Armenian religious denominations. Miran Damodian, the chief negotiator for Armenians, signed the Provisional Constitution of Cilicia in 1919 to bring new order to the region. On 4 May 1920, Armenian people declared the independence of Cilicia under the French mandate. The French forces were spread too thinly in the region and, as they came under withering attacks by Muslim elements both opposed and loyal to Mustafa Kemal Pasha, eventually reversed their policies in the region. A truce arranged on 28 May between the French and the Kemalists led to the retreat of the French forces south of the Mersin Osmaniye Railroad. With the changing political environment and interests, the French further reversed their policy, the repatriation was halted, and the French ultimately abandoned all pretensions to Cilicia, which they had originally hoped to attach to their mandate over Syria. Cilicia Peace Treaty was signed on 9 March 1921 between France and Turkish Grand National Assembly. The treaty did not achieve the intended goals and was replaced with the Treaty of Ankara that was signed on 20 October 1921. Based on the terms of the agreement, France recognized the end of the Cilicia War, and French troops together with the remaining Armenian volunteers withdrew from the region in early January 1922. Maronite community were resettled in Lebanon by the French administration. Later in 1922, roughly 10,000 Greeks were forced to move to Greece by the policy of Greco-Turkish population exchange. Cilicia Armenians settled in Lebanon, at the newly founded Armenian Bor Hammod town, just northeast of Beirut. From Urs, around 60% of the Cilician Armenians moved to Argentina. An informal census of 1941 revealed that 70% of all the Armenian Argentines in Buenos Aires had Adana origins. Now it's time to shift gears and explore Republic of Turkey. The region became part of the Republic of Turkey in 1921 with the signing of the Treaty of Ankara. On 15 April 1923, just before the signing of the Treaty of Lausanne, the Turkish government enacted the law of abandoned properties, which confiscated properties of Armenians and Greeks who were not present on their property. Cilicia were one of the regions with the most confiscated property, thus Muages N. Immigrants from Balkans and Crete were relocated in the old Armenian and Greek neighborhoods and villages of the region. All types of properties, lands, houses and workshops were distributed to them. Also during this period, there was a property rush of Muslims from Kayseri and Dorend to Cilicia who were granted the ownership of large farms, factories, stores and mansions. Within a decade, Cilicia had a sharp change demographically, socially and economically and lost its diversity by turning into solely Muslim Turkish. Remaining Jews and Christians were hit by the heavy burden of the wealth tax in 1942, which caused them to leave Cilicia, selling their properties for peanuts to families like Sabank, who built their wealth on owning confiscated or cheaply purchased properties. Forcible change in means of production led to abuse of wealth and harsh treatment of labor later in the 20th century, as the new possessors did not have the necessary management attributes that the previous owners had for centuries. With our curiosity piqued, let's embark on a dedicated exploration of legacy and its fascinating intricacies. Ancient Cilicia features in Greek mythology as a place whose name is derived from a people named the who lived in the Troad. The Hittitologist Trevor Bryce considers it plausible that populations from the Troad might have migrated to the southeast into the region which later became Cilicia during the drastic changes which formed part of the Late Bronze Age collapse at the end of the 2nd millennium BC. The Greeks invented for Cilicia an eponymous Hellen founder in the purely mythical Cilix, but the historic founder of the dynasty that ruled Cilicipedias was Mopsus, identifiable in Phoenician sources as the founder of Mopsestia, who gave his name to an oracle nearby. Homer mentions the people of Mopsus, identified as Cilis, as from the Troad in the northwesternmost part of Anatolia. In this section, we'll be deep diving into ethnicity, unraveling its complexities and uncovering valuable insights. The inhabitants of ancient Cilicia were Lusians who had settled in this region in the 2nd millennium BC, and Cilicia itself had become an important center of Lusian settlement in Anatolia in the aftermath of the Late Bronze Age collapse. This Lusian population persisted in Cilicia in the 1st millennium BC until the later Hellenistic and Roman periods. Hence why the onomastics of this region, especially in its western part rough Cilicia, were Lusian in character, implying that it was inhabited by a large number of Lusian speakers until the early 1st millennium AD. Let's zoom in on Persian influence and understand its implications. Like in the rest of the western satrapies of the Achaemenid Empire, Persians had moved in Cilicia, and archaeological evidence such as reliefs from Silifke, Adana and Korikis suggest that a Persian nobility as well as a Persianist nobility existed in Cilicia during the Achaemenid period. In the upcoming section, we'll be dissecting cultural diversity and exploring its implications in greater detail. Achaemenid and post-Achaemenid Cilicia was culturally very diverse, as attested by Aramaic funerary inscriptions and an Aramaic foundation text at Maidanchek. Coins minted at Soli and Tarsus have Persian, modified Persian, and non-Persian types, Greek and Aramaic inscriptions. As we enter this new phase, let's navigate the complexities of social organization and discover its practical applications. The population of the eastern part of ancient Cilicia was urbanist and participated in commercial and industrial activities, while the inhabitants of its western regions were tribally organized and led simpler lifestyles. Let's now turn our attention to modern and uncover the fascinating insights it brings to the table. Significant Christian communities and Chechen Greek Christians and Armenians found in Adana, Iskenderun, and Mersin. Now, let's delve into the intricacies of ancient and explore its various aspects. The rulers of the Kingdom of Cilicia styled themselves using the title of, itself derived from the name of their founding king Sienices I, which was derived from Lucian, which was itself the genitival adjective of the term, meaning. Temple estates had existed in Cilicia since the pre-Achaemenid period, although the best documentation regarding them is from the Hellenistic period. Known temple estates include the Temple of Zeus at Olb and the Temple of Artemis Parrhasia at Castubula. Brace yourselves for the next chapter, where we'll be dissecting Achaemenid. Like the other western satrapies of the Achaemenid Empire, the satrap of Cilicia owned an estate with a palace at Tarsus, which was a large and thriving city during the Achaemenid period. Subordinate to the satrap in the local administration were lower-rank officials, with some of them being landed aristocrats owning estates and villages, and others being priests in the sanctuaries of Cilicia who administered the temple estates, as well as other even lesser officials. The temple estates persisted through the Achaemenid period, implying that their existence was not perceived as detrimental to the authority of the satrap of Cilicia. The duties of the satrap including maintaining peace within his satrapy to ensure agriculture could be conducted and tribute could be produced, as well as to keep the locations at higher altitudes and the mountain passes under control loyal to the Achaemenid crown, to which it contributed 360 horses and 140 talents of silver for defense. Cilicia also provided troops to the land and maritime military forces of the Achaemenid Empire, and the satrapy itself acted as an assembly point for them. Little is known of the large cities in the Achaemenid period, although Tarsus and Soli are known to have minted coins which were used in the Achaemenid military campaigns against Cyprus and Egypt. During the Achaemenid period, the administration of Cilicia was stable and efficient, thanks to which it was agriculturally very productive and was capable of holding large military concentrations. The fact that the King of Kings Darius I expected 500 talents of silver as tribute from Cilicia attests that its administration was of the necessary competence to generate a revenue that was more than trivial. Now, let's dig deeper into Hellenistic and unveil the hidden treasures it holds within. In the Hellenistic period, the Cilician temple estates adopted Greek culture under the influence of Seleucid administration. High priests of Zeus at Olb were able to expand their authority after the fall of the Achaemenid Empire, and they became culturally Hellenist, with their dynasts shifting their names from Tarquaris, from Lucian to Tucrus. The chief priest of the temple of Artemis Parrhasia at Castubula was also a dynast who became culturally Hellenist. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore modern from a different angle. Modern Cilicia is split into 4 administrative provinces: Mersin, Adana, Osmaniye and Hatay. Each province is governed by the central government in Ankara through an appointed provincial governor. Provinces are then divided into districts governed by the district governors who are under the provincial governors. Province seat area districts west to east. Population map: Mersin 15,000, 853 Anima, Ozios, Aidinchik Calendares, Volna, Mut, Silifk, Ademli, Nizitli, Yeniha Torresla, Akniz, Womliela Namran, Tarsus 1,891,145, Adana 14,030, Sion, Ugrova, Arya, Sam, Posant, Kaisel, Carter, Umadolk AS, Sion, Isamamu, Alona Cusant, Kozensis, Fikvaka, Same by Lee Hadjan, Tufan by Lee 2,263,373, Osmani 3,767, Sumbas, Kadali Kuzbaza, Topical Tall Hamlin, Daisy, Osmani, Hassan Bailey, the 553,012, Hatay Antika 5,524, Azin, Detail Chalk Morsban, Hassa, Iskenderun, Asas, Belen, Kirkan, Samandis Savidai, Antika, Def, Ryan, Kamlu, Elida, Altons 1,670,712. In the upcoming section, we'll be dissecting ancient and exploring its implications in greater detail, reflecting the diversity of Cilicia in the Achaemenid and post-Achaemenid periods. Various deities of different origins have been attested there in antiquity. An Aramaic funerary inscription from Keshchik to the northeast of Tarsus was accompanied by depictions of Semitic deities. One Cilician coin depicted Bull of Tarsus with an Achaemenid winged disc. Another Cilician coin depicted the Semitic god Ngal wearing Persian clothes, possibly resulting from an identification of him with Mithra. As a result of the strong impact of 200 years of rule by the Persian Achaemenid Empire, fire altars and Magi were still present at Tarsus and in the rest of Cilicia as recorded by the Sasanian high priest Carter. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of demographics and exploring its real-world applications. Cilicia is heavily populated due to its abundant resources, climate and plain geography. The population of Cilicia as of 31 December 2022 is 6,435,986. Hatay is the most rural province of Cilicia, and also Hatay is the only province that the rural population is rising and the urban population is declining. The major reason is the mountainous geography of Hatay. Adana province is the most urbanized province, with most of the population centered in the city of Adana. Mersin province has a larger rural population than Adana province, owing to its long and narrow stretch of flat land in between the Taurus Mountains and the Mediterranean. Now let's shift our focus to economy and embark on an intellectual exploration of its various dimensions. Cilicia is well known for the vast fertile land and highly productive agriculture. The region is also industrialized. Tarsus, Adana and Sion host numerous plants. Mersin and Iskenderun seaports provide transportation of goods manufactured in central, south and southeast Anatolia. Sion hosts oil, natural gas terminals as well as refineries and shipbuilders. Brace yourself for a captivating discussion on agriculture as we explore its nuances and implications. The Cilicia Plain has some of the most fertile soil in the world, in which 3 harvests can be taken each year. The region has the second richest flora in the world, and it is the producer of all agricultural products of Turkey except hazelnut and tobacco. Cilicia leads Turkey in soy, peanuts and corn harvest and is a major producer of fruits and vegetables. Half of Turkey's citrus export is from Cilicia. Anima is the only subtropical area of Turkey where bananas, mango, kiwi and other subtropical produce can be harvested. Cilicia is the second largest honey producer in Turkey after the Muğla region. Samandad, Umatulk, Karta and Bozios are some of the towns in the region where fishing is the major source of income. Grey mullet, red mullet, sea bass, Lagos, calamari and gilt-head bream are some of the most popular fish in the region. There are aquaculture farms in Akyatan, Umatulk Lakes and at Sion Reservoir. While not as common as other forms of agriculture, dairy and livestock are also produced throughout the region. Let's zoom in on mining and understand its implications. Zinc and lead, Kozen Horsem Sin is the major source. Chrome is found around Anatolia. Buried resources are around Mersin and Adana. Iron is found around Fik and Sambaili. Asbestos mines are mostly in Hatay province. Limestone reserves are very rich in Cilicia. The region is home to 4 lime manufacturing plants. Pumice resources are the richest in Turkey. 14% of country's reserves are in Cilicia. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze manufacturing from different angles and evaluate its significance. Cilicia is one of the first industrialized regions of Turkey. With the improvements in agriculture and the spike of agricultural yield, agriculture-based industries are built in large numbers. Today, the manufacturing industry is mainly concentrated around Tarsus, Adana and Cilician. Textile, leather tanning and food processing plants are plentiful. Isdemir is a large steel plant located in Iskenderun. The petrochemical industry is rapidly developing in the region with the investments around the Cilician oil terminal. Petroleum refineries are being built in the area. Cilician is also expected to host the shipbuilding industry. Get ready to uncover the mysteries surrounding commerce as we navigate its intriguing terrain. Adana is the commercial center of the region where many of the public and private institutions have their regional offices. Mersin and Anatolia are also home to regional offices of public institutions. Many industry fairs and congresses are held in the region at venues such as the Tube Congress and Exhibition Center in Adana and the Mersin Congress Center. Mersin Seaport is the 3rd largest seaport in Turkey, after Istanbul and Izmir. There are 45 piers in the port. The total area of the port is 785 and the capacity is 6,000 ships per year. Iskenderun Seaport is used mostly for transfers to Middle East and southeastern Turkey. Cilician Oil Terminal is a marine transport terminal for the Baku-Tbilisi-Cilician pipeline, the BTC, the Kirkuk-Cilician oil pipeline, the planned Samsun-Cilician and the Cilician Red Sea pipelines. Cilician will also be a natural gas terminal for a planned pipeline to be constructed parallel to the Kirkuk-Cilician oil pipeline, and for a planned extension of the Blue Stream gas pipeline from Samsun to Cilician. Dertile Oil Terminal is a marine transport terminal for Batman Dertile oil pipeline which started operating in 1967 to market Batman oil. The pipeline is 511 km long and has an annual capacity of 3.5 million tons. With that being said, let's now move on to tourism. While the region has a long coastline, international tourism is not at the level of the neighboring Anatolia province. There are a small number of hotels between Adana and Adana that attracts tourists. Cilicia tourism is mostly cottage tourism serving the Cilicia locals as well as residents of Kayseri, Gaziantep and surrounding areas. Between Silifke and Mersin, high-rise and low-rise cottages line the coast, leaving almost no vacant land. The coastline from Mersin to Karta is mostly farmland. This area is zoned for resort tourism and is expected to have a rapid development within the next 20 years. Karta and Yumatalk coasts are home to cottages with a bird conservatory between the two areas. Usas is a seaside resort that is mostly frequented by Antakya and Iskenderun residents. Places on the Taurus Mountains are cooler escapes for the locals who wants to chill out from hot and humid summers of the lower plains. Gozny and Wamliela Namran in Mersin province, Teka, Berchek and Gzda in Adana province, Zorkan in Osmaniye province and Sokolok in Hatay province are the popular high plain resorts of Cilicia which are often crowded in summer. There are a few hotels and camping sites in the Teka plateau. Let's now zoom in on balneary tourism and uncover the hidden gems that lie within. The region is a popular destination for thermal springs. Hammamet Thermal Spring, located on midway from Kirkuk to Ryan, has a very high sulfur ratio, making it the second in the world after a thermal spring in India. It is the largest spa in the region and attracts many Syrians due to proximity. Hanai Thermal Spring is located on the banks of the Cilician River near Dizi town and has a serene environment. Thermal springs are a hot spot for people with rheumatism. Kertep, Alahakal and Ilka Mineral Springs, all located in Adana province, are popular for toxic cleansing. Ottoman Palace Thermal Resort and Spa in Antakya is one of Turkey's top resorts for revitalization. As we progress through this video, let's shift our attention towards religious tourism and uncover its hidden depths. Lying at a crossroads of three major religions, namely Judaism, Christianity and Islam, the region is home to numerous landmarks that are important for people of faith. Tarsus is the birthplace of Paul the Apostle, who returned to the city after his conversion. The city was a stronghold of Christians after his death. Ashab Cavern, one of the locations claimed to be the resting place of the legendary Seven Sleepers, holy to Christians and Muslims, is located north of Tarsus. Antakya is another destination for the spiritual world, where, according to the New Testament, the followers of Jesus Christ were first called Christians. The Church of St. Peter near Antakya, Antioch is one of Christianity's oldest churches. It's the home of St. Peter, one of the 12 apostles of Jesus. Antioch was called the cradle of Christianity as a result of its longevity and the pivotal role that it played in the emergence of both Hellenistic Judaism and early Christianity. Get ready to immerse yourself in the world of ancient sites as we examine its impact and relevance. Cilician Maiden Castle, a fort on a small island across Cilician Township, was built during the early 12th century by Armenian kings of the Rubenayan dynasty to defend the city of Korikis, present-day Cilician. Heaven and Hell, situated on a large hill north of Nalkiyu, consists of the grobans resulting from our soil of forains for thousands of years. The natural phenomenon of the grobans is named Hell and Heaven because of the exotic effects on people. Visitors can access the cave of the mythological giant Typhon. The ancient Roman town of Soloi Pompeipolis, near the city of Mersin. Ironcale Castle of Serpents, an 11th Crusader castle built on a historical road connecting the Taurus Mountains with the city of Antakya. The castle has 8 round towers, a military guardhouse and a church. It is located 5 km west of Sion. Anatolia Castle, built in the 3rd century, served as the center of the ancient metropolis of Anavaza. The city was built on a hill and had strategic importance, controlling the Cilician plain. The main castle and the city walls represent remains of the city. The city wall is 1500 m long and January 28, 2025, high, with 4 entrances to the city. The castle is located 80 km northeast of Adana. Akumana, an ancient city located in northernmost Cilicia, some 200 km north of Adana, near Tufanbili. It was an historical center of the Hittites. Remaining structures today include the amphitheater built during the Roman period, ruins of a church from the Byzantine era and Hittite rock works. The Church of St. Peter in Antakya was a cave on the slopes of Habibi Nika mountain converted into a church. The church is known as the first Christians' traditional meeting place. Pope Paul VI declared the church a place of pilgrimage for Christians in 1963, and since then a special ceremony takes place on 29 June each year. St. Simeon Monastery, a 6th giant structure built on a desolate hill 18 km south of Antakya. The most striking features of this monastery are its cisterns, its storage compartment, and the walls. It is believed that St. Simeon resided here atop a 20-meter stone column for 45 years. Get ready for an enlightening exploration as we dig into parks and conservation areas and understand its role in the broader context. Akitan Lagoon is a large wildlife refuge which acts as a stopover for migratory birds voyaging from Africa to Europe. The wildlife refuge has an area made up of forests, lagoon, marsh, sandy and reedy lands. Akitan Lake is a natural wonder with endemic plants and endangered bird species living in it together with other species of plants and animals. 250 species of birds are observed during a study in 1990. The conservation area is located 30 km south of Adana, near Tuzla. Umatulk Nature Reserve covers an area of 16,430 hectares within the Sion Delta, with its lakes, lagoons, and wide collection of plant and animal species. The area is an important location for many species of migrating birds, The number gets higher during the winters when the lakes become a shelter when other lakes further north freeze. Anatolia National Park, located north of Adana, is a huge park of around 55,000 hectares. The summit of Demirkazak at 3,756 m is the highest point in the Middle Taurus mountain range. There is a huge range of flora and fauna, and visitors may fish in the streams full of trout. Wildlife includes wild goats, bears, lynx and sable. The most common species of plant life is black pine and cluster pine trees, with some cedar dotted between, and fir trees in the northern areas with high humidity. The alpine region, from the upper borders of the forest, has pastures with rocky areas and little variety of plant life because of the high altitude and slope. Karap Aslanta National Park, located on the west bank of Sion River in Osmaniye province. The park includes the Karap Hittite Fortress and an open-air museum. Tekez Kingalids Nature Reserve, located 30 km north of Dertile, is known for having an ecosystem different from the Mediterranean. The main species of trees around Kingalids are beech, oak and fir, and around Tekez are hornbeam, ash, beech, black pine and silver birch. The main animal species in the area are wild goat, roe deer, bear, hyena, wild cat, wagtail, wolf, jackal and fox. Habibi Nekada Nature Reserve is famous for its cultural as well as natural value, especially for Street Pier Church, which was carved into the rocks. The Chayan Monument, 200 m north of the church, is a huge sculpture of Chayan, known as Boatman of Hell in mythology, carved into the rocks. The main species of tree are cluster pine, oaks and sandalwood. The mountain is also home to foxes, rabbits, partridges and stock doves. Nature Reserve is 10 km east of Anatolia and can be accessible by public transport. The time has come to unravel the secrets behind education and gain a deeper understanding. There are numerous private primary and high schools besides the state schools in the region. Most popular high school in the region is Tarsus American College, founded as a missionary school in 1888 to serve Armenian community and then became a secular school in 1923. Adana Anatolian High School and Adana Science High School, most important high schools in the Cilicia. In other cities, Anatolian High School and School for Science are the most popular high schools of the city. The region is home to 5 state and 2 foundation universities. Yukarova University is a state university founded in 1973 with the union of the faculties of agriculture and medicine. Main campus is in the city of Adana, and the College of Tourism Administration is in Karta. There is an engineering faculty in Sion, and vocational schools in Kozan, Karasal, Pozant and Umatalk. The university is one of the well-developed universities of Turkey with many cultural, social and athletic facilities, currently enrolls 40,000 students. Mersin University is a state university founded in 1992. And currently serving with 11 faculties, 6 colleges and 9 vocational schools. The university employs more than 2,100 academicians and enrolls 26,980 students. Main campus is in the city of Mersin. In Tarsus, there is Faculty of Technical Education and Applied Technology and Management College. In Silifke and Erdemli, university has colleges and vocational schools. There are also vocational schools in Anama, Aydınçek, Gona, and Mut. Mustafa Kemal University is a state university located in Hatay province. University was founded in 1992, currently has 9 faculties, 4 colleges and 7 vocational schools. Main campus is in Antakya and Faculty of Engineering is in Iskenderun. The university employs 708 academicians and 14,439 students as of 2007. Korkut Ata University was founded in 2007 as a state university with the Union of Colleges and Vocational Schools in Osmaniye province and began enrollment in 2009. The university has 3 faculties and a vocational school at the main campus in the city of Osmaniye and vocational schools in Kaderli, Daisy and Ersin. University employs 107 academicians and enrolled 4,000 students in 2009. Adana Science and Technology University is a recently founded state university that is planned to have 10 faculties, 2 institutions and a college. It will accommodate 1,700 academic, 470 administrative staff, and it is expected to enroll students by 2012. A university is a not-for-profit tuition-based university founded in 1997. It is located on midway from Adana to Tarsus. University holds around 2,500 students, most of them commuting from Adana, Tarsus and Mersin. Torres University is a not-for-profit tuition-based university located in Mersin. The university started enrolling students in 2010. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of sports and exploring its real-world applications. Football is the most popular sport in Cilicia, professionally represented at all levels of the football in Turkey. Club Sport League venue capacity founded Mersin Basketball Women's Super League Idip Buran Arena 1750-1993 Hatay Basketball Women's Super League Antakya Sport Hall 2500 2009 Adana Basketball Club Basketball Women's Super League Adana Atatürk Sports Hall 2000 Mersin Basketball Club Basketball Women's Super League Idip Buran Arena 1750 Cilician Osmaniye Basketball Women's Super League Cilician Sports Hall 2000. In the upcoming section, we'll be dissecting transportation and exploring its intricate connections to our topic. Cilicia has a well-developed transportation system with 2 airports, 2 major seaports, motorways and railway lines on the historical route connecting Europe to Middle East. In this chapter, we'll be unraveling the enigma of air and discovering its transformative power. Cilicia is served by 2 airports. Adana WikipediaReader Airport is an international airport that have flights to European destinations. There are daily domestic flights to Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir, Anatolia and Trabzon. Adana WikipediaReader Airport serves the provinces of Mersin, Adana and Osmaniye. Uprighter thumb railway connections of Cilicia Hatay Airport, opened in 2007, is a domestic airport and currently has flights to Istanbul, Ankara and Nicosia, TRNC. Hatay Airport mostly serves Hatay province. Another under-construction airport is Yukharova Regional Airport. According to the newspaper Herayet, the project's cost will be €357 million. When finished, it will serve to 15 million people, and the capacity will be doubled in the future. Turning our focus to sea, let's explore its key elements. There are daily seabus and vehicle passenger ferry services from Tak to Kyrenia, northern Cyprus. From Mersin Port, there are ferry services to Famagusta. Turning our focus to road, let's explore its key elements. The O motorways crosses Cilicia. Motorways of Cilicia extends to Nide on the north, Ademli on the west and Wannerfa on the east, and Iskenderun on the south. State Road D400 connects Cilicia to Anatolia on the west. Adana-Kozan, Adana-Skrota, Iskenderun and Aleppo double roads are other regional roads. As we enter this new phase, let's navigate the complexities of railway and discover its practical applications. Parallel to the highway network in Cilicia, there is an extensive railway network. Adana-Mersin train runs as a commuter train between Mersin, Tarsus and Adana. There are also regional trains from Adana to Sion, Osmaniye and Iskenderun. In the next phase, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of society and exploring its real-world applications. Cilicia was one of the most important regions for the Ottoman Armenians because it managed very well to preserve Armenian character throughout the years. In fact, the Cilician highlands were densely populated by Armenians in small but prosperous towns and villages such as Hajan and Zaytun, 2 mountainous areas where autonomy was maintained until the 19th century. In ports and cities of the Adana Plain, commerce and industry were almost entirely in the hands of the Armenians, and they remained so thanks to a constant influx of Armenians from the highlands. Their population was continuously increasing in numbers in Cilicia in contrast to other parts of the Ottoman Empire, where it was, since 1878, decreasing due to repression. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore mythological namesake through a fresh lens, unlocking new perspectives. Greek mythology mentions another Cilicia as a small region situated immediately southeast of the Troad in northwestern Anatolia, facing the Gulf of Idrymatium. The connection, if any, between this Cilicia and the better-known and well-defined region mentioned above is unclear. This Trojan Cilicia is mentioned in Homer's Iliad and Strabo's geography, and contained localities such as Thebes, Lyrnessus and Chryse, home to Chryse and Chryses. These three cities were all attacked and sacked by Achilles during the Trojan War. In Prometheus Bound v 353, Aeschylus mentions the Cilician caves, probably Senit and Chenem, where the earth-born, hundred-headed monster Typhon dwelt before he withstood the gods and was stricken and charred by Zeus's thunderbolt. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore independent kings from a different angle. Cianis's illusion. In this chapter, we'll be unraveling the enigma of Achaemenid vassal kings and discovering its transformative power. Cianis's illusion. Xynidaras of Halicarnassus, Cianis's illusion. Without further ado, let's move on to the topic of satraps. Camisores, Datums, Old Persian, Mazus. As we move forward, let's uncover the untold stories and fascinating intricacies of Roman pliant kings. Tarquinius I. Lucian. Tarquinius I. Lucian. Stay connected and join our community by subscribing and following me on other platforms.